Advocacy Council.
Good Monday morning, Jonesboro. This is meteorologist Tim Root with your KLEK 102.5 FM weather. Clouds and showers and thunderstorms expected today and tonight. There might be a severe thunderstorm. High 80 to 85 and the low around 70. This weather system will continue to stall over the region, giving us more cloud showers and thunderstorms Tuesday and Wednesday. It'll be partly to mostly cloudy. Temperatures for the most part in the mid to upper 80s. And we'll have a full strawberry moon overnight. Jonesboro, that's your KLEK 102.5 FM weather.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Iran says on the 27th of June it'll go over a limit on its stockpile of enriched uranium that's in place as part of the 2015 nuclear deal. Hong Kong activist Joshua Wong says the city's leader Carrie Lam should resign. At least 30 people have been killed in a triple suicide bomb in Nigeria's northeastern state of Borno. And at least 12 people have died after a passenger grabbed the wheel of a bus in West Java in Indonesia, causing it to crash.
It's 9:01.
Community Conversations is brought to you by Arkansas Early Learning, offering no-cost childcare in Jonesboro and Northeast Arkansas. Applications at arearlylearning.org.
Arkansas Early Learning is a nonprofit organization.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday to you. I hope that you're having a great start to your day. You're tuned in to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. Today is going to be an abbreviated day with my special guest, Minister Ime Ilugbe from Future for Felons. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
All right. Before we get started, I just want to say a big, huge thank you to everyone in the community that came out on Saturday to support the second annual Juneteenth celebration. It was amazing. It was an amazing event. And from the bottom of my heart and from everyone at KLEK, we thank you so very much for coming out. So look forward to more events later in the year and next year. All right, so Future for Felons is hosting a town hall meeting.
Yes.
And you try to host one at least once a month.
Yes.
All right, and so this one is going to be on, I lost the date very quick, June 21st.
Yes.
Okay, which is this Friday?
This Friday, yes.
All right, so tell us a little bit more about the topics that will be discussed at this meeting.
Right, so it's this Friday, June the 21st, and basically what it is we're going to have Senator John Cooper come and discuss all the criminal bills that were passed. Well, the goal is to discuss all. We might not actually get to discuss all. But certain ones definitely we will discuss, like the SB 450, which is now Act 990. And, of course, we'll talk about the Stand Your Ground that did not pass. So he'll come and it's this one is kind of special. This particular town hall meeting is kind of special. Why? Because we started doing town hall meetings exactly a year ago this month.
Oh, wow.
And then check this out. Senator Cooper was the first speaker in our very first town hall meeting.
So did you plan it like this?
Well, not intentionally.
Okay.
It's after I had done it, and then I was like, hey, wait a second. Did you know, and then,
Wow.
Yeah.
So what a way to commemorate your first ever town hall meeting by having the same speaker come back again.
Yes.
All right, and so can you go into more detail about what SB 451 now Act 990 is? Okay, so I'm
not going to go too much in detail there, and because I think I'll let Senator Cooper do that as well on the day. But what I can tell you is that Governor Hutchinson last year, I believe, had formed a task force called the Red Tape Reduction Task Force. And basically, the whole goal was to, how can I say this? It talks about occupational relevance. So if your crime is let's say your crime had something to do with, I don't know, well, children.
Okay.
Let's say it had something to do with children. Well, then, of course, they're not going to hire you at a daycare. See, that's occupational relevance.
Okay.
But if your crime was against children, that shouldn't stop you from getting your license to, be a plumber or a manufacturer of any kind or whatever. So it has to be relevant. Okay. And so that's, anyways, that is what led to this SB 450, which is now Act 990.
Okay. Well,
that he will discuss.
I found some information. It's on legiscan.com, and you can type in, there's a search box, you can type in the bill number, the state, and other information to help you find exactly what you're looking for.
Yes.
And it's LGISCAN, and so it's this Arkansas Senate Bill 451. And basically what you said, the summary says, to amend the laws regarding criminal background checks for professions and occupations to obtain consistency regarding criminal background checks and disqualifying offenses for licensure. Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yes.
So basically, removing the stipulations for someone who has a felony,
Right.
instead of barring them from all jobs,
Yes.
making what they're not eligible for only specific to whatever their offense
Yes,
was.
yes.
Okay.
Which makes a lot of sense, and of course, we want even more than this, but it's baby steps, as Representative Brand Smith said. We gotta take baby steps, because the society we live in likes to keep the status quo, likes to keep things the way they are, and so change is not going to just come quick and drastic. It's going to come slow and
slow and steady.
Yeah. So this is a good step in the right direction, at least, because a lot of the times I've often heard like the students in Blytheville there who are going through some kind of technical training, some certification or licensure. They're like, okay, why get the training and why go through all that if at the end I'm still going to be denied? What's the point? And so here's what Act 990 should at least help with this.
Okay, that's awesome. And so if you would like to learn more information and just be a part of this conversation, come out this Friday. And what time does the event start?
It starts at 11:30.
11:30, and lunch will be provided.
Yeah.
And tell them the location.
This is at the First National Bank Community Room on Hilltop. I believe it's 3500 East Johnson Avenue. Yes.
All right. So again, Friday at 11:30. Come on out and join the conversation. Get to meet Senator John Cooper if you have not before. And also, he has, been an advocate for quite a few things.
Yes.
When it comes to the citizens of not just in Jonesboro, he is a voice for us in the state Senate.
Yes.
And so tell us about his actions with the Stand Your Ground law.
Yes. So that's another topic that he will address, and that was a very courageous stance he took there, because of course his vote was the swing vote. His vote determined whether the law would be passed or not, whether the bill passed or not. And so of course the pressure, obviously pressure from his peers saying, hey, go ahead and sign, say yes, vote yes, and so he's dealing with that, and I'm sure all different other avenues there of pressure, and so, but he makes this decision not to support it, and he voted no, and so he's going to discuss that, especially now that he did he did mention to me that now that he has taken this stance, he has sort of created enemies but we just continue to, I just told him, listen, we're praying for you, and just stay strong, and we thank you for all that you do.
Well, I want to say this, on behalf of Kelly K. Of course, we try not to get too involved in politics and, express our opinions because we want to create a neutral space for everyone to come and share their ideas. All I would say is we know that an election year is coming up. Get to know who's running for what position, look at where they stand on the issues, and make a decision for yourself on who you feel best represents you. We cannot tell you who to vote for. We just encourage you to vote, and hopefully you make a decision that you're, feel good about, and the candidate represents your beliefs and values.
Yes.
But please take the time to get to know who is running for what position. That's all we ask. All right. And so, again, will you have any other speakers, or will Senator Cooper be the only speaker?
He will be the only speaker, and I saw him at the Juneteenth, and we kind of talked again about that, and basically, it's gonna take him, a good at least 30 minutes to really go into the Act 990. I'm sure it's going to take more like 45 and upwards of an hour, but he's going to discuss that and all the significances of this. What does this mean for you? What does this mean for and he's also going to discuss, of course, with the Stand Your Ground, any other bill that's out there that didn't pass, or if we have time.
Okay.
But the main two ones are the Act 990 and the Stand Your Ground. Those two have to be discussed.
And I want to say this, concerning Future for Felons.
Yes.
You all are an advocacy group, a lobbyist group, fighting for the rights of felons, because you shared your personal story, how you have been on the other side of the law, and because of the privileges that you have been afforded, you want to see everyone else that has unfortunately received a felony. And sometimes felonies could be, they're non-violent.
Right.
They can be non-violent charges.
Right.
And someone made a mistake at some point in their life, and because of the amount of whatever it was, it classifies as a felony.
Yes.
And so we know that can hold a dark cloud over your life.
Absolutely.
And hold you back from certain opportunities.
Absolutely.
But, Future Felons is, you're in the trenches and you're fighting for those people.
Yes.
You're helping provide avenues to resources.
Yes.
To help them get their lives back on track.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we are trying to do here. And, our approach is definitely from a policy and a law standpoint, because the problem is a multifaceted problem, but definitely until laws begin to be less restrictive, this era of mass incarceration will remain in this era, because we're with Northeast Arkansas Reentry Coalition. We go to their meetings. We work with them, and we had a meeting I believe early on this month, and we were talking. We were talking about, hey, what can we do? What can we do? And resources are out there, and there are resources, but the resources cannot outrun the number of people coming out of prison.
Okay.
They cannot outnumber. The resources cannot outnumber the people coming out of prison. What I mean by that is it's a numbers game, and so there's only so many resources out there for, if you say 10,000 people are coming out of prison, and these resources, like if we take, for example, what's the house there? I forget the name forgets me now, but it's I think it's a reclamation house. I think it's reclamation house. Yeah, they screen their candidates.
Okay.
So just because you're coming out doesn't guarantee you're going to get that.
Okay.
So there's resources there, and there's resources, but until the law begins to be less restrictive, it's still going. The numbers will still be up there.
And, we've had this discussion before that if people do not get the help they need to transition back into everyday life,
Right.
they are at risk of becoming a repeat offender.
Yes, absolutely.
And so there goes this cycle again. They're back in prison, back serving time, and just further delaying what they could be doing with their life.
Right, exactly. And so, it feeds in. It feeds in. And, it's interesting how that if you study nations who have previously dealt with some type of racial discrimination, tend to have high prison populations. So like here, if you look at South Africa, if their prison population is quite high, or even maybe a Russia or places like this that have dealt with some type of racial discrimination, it seems like the next thing is high prison populations. Some still finding a system of oppression that still reinvents itself, and that's what we have here. With mass incarceration and war on drugs, war on immigrants, these things.
All right. So if you would like to get more involved in Future for Felons, or just find out just how you can help or see what information they have available, reach out to Minister Ime Ilugbe. You can find Future for Felons on Facebook, and they also have a website. If you go to Facebook, you'll find the link to their website and their email so that you can reach out to Mr. Ime personally, and he can guide you in whatever direction it will be helpful to you. Please consider, though, coming out and supporting this organization and this luncheon. You never know what you might learn on Friday. And again, Friday, June 21st, 11:30 p.m., First National Bank Community Room, which is at the new bank, which is on 3500 East Johnson Avenue. And again, lunch will be provided, so just go for the lunch and fellowship. Go for the lunch and information. So, anything else? I know we've talked a lot about before when you were here, just the prison pipeline, just how. Okay. Trying to be nice about this, but how people get caught up in the system.
Right, yes.
And they just get caught up in this pipeline of in prison, and then once they're out again, their lives are just, they're trying to find a way back to some kind of normalcy. Right. But talk about, I guess, the stuff that people don't want to talk about, what they're afraid to talk about, the financial aspect of.
Right, the financial aspect of this all, of course, I believe one of our town hall meetings we did last year, and we talked about the prison industrial complex. And, and we had a panel, and one of my panelists was actually an ADC, or I'll say ACC, Arkansas Community Corrections officer. Okay. And this person had never heard the term prison industrial complex. And, so the billion-dollar industry, the money side of it is, of course, does not want to be discussed, and people, that section tends to be kind of just, just put that there, just forget about that, so to speak. And so, but we need our eyes to be open to that monetary aspect, and who is bearing the burden. Most of the people in jail are poor, so it's breaking the back of the poor. And it's a system that's, profiting, the rich, so to speak, but you go back and, they made the bad choice, okay, maybe they did, but still, you don't have to perpetually punish somebody for a bad choice. At what point do you begin to say that's enough punishment for this? Okay, get on with your life, or, and so I believe that, for example, you had mentioned something about the non-violent crimes, right? And we had proposed a bill to release, all non-violent offenders. Like, if your crime was considered non-violent, released from prison. If we even did just that, how we would cut our prison population down, and it didn't pass. You see, and so it's like, if it would seem like, hey, are you really wanting these problems resolved? Are you really wanting to see progress here? And and why are people being locked up for non-violent crimes? And it just goes to show that the monetary aspect, because they cannot make a law that's going to affect their pocket. Any law that's going to bring a drastic change in the pocket is not going to pass. It's not. It has a slim chance of passing because of the powers that be, the corporations. I mean, they have a hand in this. I mean,
I was going to mention that I know we could go down a rabbit hole of never-ending rabbit hole of trying to research all the corporations that actually support the private prison systems.
Yes.
But I just want the consumers to be more informed on the products they buy, who they support.
Yes.
Again, it will take you forever and a day to figure out who all is behind
Right.
everything, but I just want people to start making more conscious decisions.
Right. It's very intertwined. I mean, it's ridiculous how intertwined it is. I mean, just about every product out there, your clothing, whatever the case may be, is if it's being made by prisoners or whatnot, and you're buying it, you're supporting in the business or whatever. It's so intertwined. It's almost, sometimes even I catch myself like, I mean, I really shouldn't be supporting this scene where I know the history of this, but it's just so, how do you dial back from this thing? And it's really whereas during the civil rights era, Dr. King could say something like, we just boycott this business or boycott that, and everybody would be on board like, okay, yeah, we're not buying from them, and it was an effective tool. But right now, it's a lot harder to do something like that.
Yeah, because there's so many more corporations present. So, but again, it all goes back to educating yourself. Just arming yourself with education.
Right.
So, again, as we wrap up, just want to say if you would like to get more involved and learn what's happening within the state of Arkansas concerning maybe prison reform
Yes.
or criminal justice laws or everything in between, please reach out to Future for Felons and they'll be happy to discuss those things with you. All right, so our last minute and a half, any final words?
Just come out there and support, get involved. You may not be a felon, but you're affected by the circumstances facing people with criminal convictions because they're in your community, they're in your local community, and again, it's community, common union. Right?
Okay.
So whatever affects me affects you, and so we are our neighbors, and our neighbors are us, and so you're affected financially. It's tax money, it's taxpayers' money that keeps a prisoner in prison, and that I believe it's almost 60 to 90,000, to keep one inmate in prison a year. I mean, and so that's your tax money going to that,
And they could be out making a
Right.
living and paying that money back to the. So
Right.
That's a whole other discussion.
That's a whole other discussion. So
All right.
yeah, I do hope I've met with a couple of people from the Poor People's Campaign, and I hope to be talking with them some more because we're still working on taking those signs down in the Cedar Heights area.
Okay. All right. So stay tuned for more, and please support Future for Felons and go out to the luncheon this Friday, June 21st,
Yes.
11:30, with the special guest, Senator John Cooper. Thank you, Minister Ime, for joining us
Thank
today.
you for having me.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This has been your Community Conversations for Monday. Enjoy the mixes right after the announcements. Have a great and blessed day.
Thank you for listening to Community Conversations on KLEK